Hello and welcome to another replica reviews video. Now this morning we have another one of the Legends guns that comes from the Umarex Legends series, and this of course is the Umarex PO8. Now, as I'm sure many of you can see straight off the front of this video, this is essentially just a replica of a Luger PO8, which, as I'm sure again many of you know, was the German issue pistol amongst various other kind of Axis forces back during the war periods as such. Now, this gun has an incredibly checkered past. Obviously, it's been tainted from the whole being standard issue during the Nazis' reign, etc. But still, for any collectors out there, it does have a certain kind of Legends status to it, which I think is probably why Umarex have decided to kind of encapsulate it in a replica. Now, first off, you can see it just comes in a pretty standard box. For anybody that's watched Umarex reviews before or owned Umarex guns, you'll notice it's pretty standard. You just got some basic kind of wartime scenery in the background. It's not really coming out too well on the camera, but it's just a really kind of subtle graphic. It's got some basic info on the outside as well. It is a 12 gram CO2 powered 4.5mm full metal replica with a 21 round dropout magazine. Now it's one of these little stick magazines, but we'll go into that in a second anyway. So opening it up, pretty obvious to see. It's very standard for Umarex. You've got their little like us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. They do have their own YouTube channel. It's well worth a visit. They've got some quite well produced little videos on there. We also have the standard little manual as well. Now there's nothing out of the ordinary in here. It's got many different languages telling you many different things. How to load your magazine, how to take the CO2 in and out, etc. Again, pretty standard stuff. A poster just with loads of different Umarex products on. And for anybody in the UK as well, you do get this little Armex warranty card here. Very unlikely that you have a problem, but if you do, Armex in the UK are pretty spot on with sorting people out. And obviously, last but not least, you do have the pistol. Now, it's worth noting as well, just out of shot, you can just see some text on the top of the box lid there. It just gives you a little bit of information. Now, what I'll probably do is I'll just probably translate that across onto our Facebook page when I create the photo album for this, so everybody can see what it says. Have a read and compare notes and see how accurate it is. So what I'm going to do is just quickly move the box out of the way, get the gun in the middle, get it all focused up and ready to go, and we'll continue on with the review. Okay, so here we have it, and straight out the box you'll be able to notice it's not the prettiest gun in the world. It's definitely not going to win any awards for looks or anything like that. Now, I've got to admit, picking it up, it is quite a sturdy pistol. I was quite impressed by the construction. Now, as the box did tell me, apart from the grips here, really, everything else is full metal, and it does have quite a weight to it. It's a nice little pistol. As I said a minute ago, it's not the prettiest, but anyhow. Now, as far as features go, it's just worth noting that this is only a double action only pistol, and as a result, there's no blowback. There's no kind of, you can't rack the slide on the real Luger. If you pull these two tabs back, it would open up this entire top section. Well, these are unfortunately fixed. In many respects, this is essentially what I would describe as a paperweight gun. It fires, it does its thing, but there's no frills, there's no fancy bits, there's no moving parts or anything. If it does break, it is just going to be a paperweight. Now, that said, the only features on the side here are the safety catch and the magazine release catch. Now, releasing the magazine, you do get quite a nice little spring-loaded assistance. Again, full metal, and what I really like is on the bottom here, dropping the magazine, it does actually cover all of the tab and all of the CO2 area on the bottom. Now, it's really easy to load. You simply lock it down like so, and then there's a little hole just in the back, obviously just covering the top with your finger, and you just pull your BBs in, and it is really simple. It's quite a nice little design from Umarex. So that's one of the only features. Now, the only other really feature on the outside is the safety catch. Now, as you can see, it's got some writing here. I will attempt to pronounce it. It's probably going to be completely wrong, but it's Geschnit or something like that. Anyway, that's German for secure, which I'm guessing is their kind of version of saying, when you can see the text, it's in safe position. Obviously, flicking it up, hopefully, you can see it then shows the little red dot to say that it's live. What that basically means now is that you can use the trigger. Now, the trigger is possibly one of the worst triggers I've come across since the Colt Special Combat. Now, my problem with the Colt Special Combat was it was almost like trying to squeeze a sponge. you've got about half a mile of travel, and then it was just a really horrible trigger. And to be completely honest, this one is much the same. You push, or you pull it back like so, then you can feel it cycling something through, and then eventually, basically the break point is when it's touching the back of the frame. Now, it's a really, really heavy trigger, and I have to admit, it's not one that I like. That said, when you engage the safety, it goes really nice. If they could make the trigger like that all day long, it would be absolutely lovely. But anyway, it's not a good trigger for me. I don't like it. I'm definitely one for you know, single action triggers. But even with double action triggers, they've just got to feel good. You know, you can have a good double action trigger, and unfortunately, I just don't feel that this one kind of cuts it, to be completely honest. Now, apart from that, that is pretty much it. The takedown lever here, that's completely non-functional. The barrel, sorry, is full metal with a fixed blade sight on the front. Again, has no movement or anything like that. And then on this side, there's no real markings. You've just got the basic 4.5mm BB replica, all that kind of stuff on this side. Magazine release catch wasn't ambidextrous, as I'm sure you could probably already guess. And there's just a couple of exposed screws here and there, which for me, I kind of feel that Umarex missed the trick. If you were going to create a Legends gun, and you were going to create something that's, you know, you want to make an iconic piece, you've selected this out as an iconic gun. To me, it would make sense to then do it justice. If you look at some of the other Legends series, such as the Mauser, for example, the C96, they really went to town on that one. It's one of the best triggers that sort of we've come across. It was full metal, it was blowback, and it was just really neat. It was almost like somebody actually went, you know, this is a legendary gun, and we're going to make a legendary replica of it. And I just kind of feel that they just kind of got bored with the Luger and just went, well, there's other ones on the market, so we'll just create this one. And that said, if you do want a really realistic Luger, possibly look at the Gletschers. There is a KWC version as well. I think the KWC one's 6mm, but anyway, the Gletschers 4.5. It's blowback, it's got all the moving parts, and hopefully if I can find one, then I will definitely pick one up. Now, the only thing really left for me to mention is how to load the CO2. Now, obviously, removing the magazine exposes you to the bottom here where the CO2 tightening tab is, and what you'll notice is hopefully on the bottom coming out, you can see that it says open, with an arrow telling you to push this little piece here. So you push that up, like so, and then it just exposes where the CO2 is. Now that goes in, you know, I don't really need to show you that, it's just straightforward. You put it in, tighten it up, wait for it to hiss, and then job done. It's worth noting it has two little tabs on the top, hopefully that's now in focus. When you're putting the grip back in, just line those tabs up, get them in. I have to say it's easier said than done when you're doing this one-handed on screen, and then push it in like so, and as you hear, you get that really big positive click, and then from that point on, you're ready to put the magazine in and carry on. Now, overall, I have to say I was a little bit disappointed. I've been waiting for a good replica PO8 to come out for a while. I was really hoping, when I saw Umarex were making one, I was like, you know what, Umarex, they usually do an absolute top job. And I was really vouching for this gun. I wanted it to be a good replica, but once you pick it up and you realise, you know, I do love Umarex guns, but it just feels like they've just missed a trick with this one. They could have done so much more if they wanted to. Okay, for the price point, you know, it's not too bad, but I think the collectors out there that see it part of the Legends series, being in the Legends series, okay, you might want to put the prices up, and I think collectors would be okay with that, but then they'd want something in return. So if they'd just done like a budget line one, like what they did with the Makarov, you know, there's a standard non-blowback Makarov, and then you've got the Ultra. If they'd done something like this with the PO8, so this one here was just like your generic 70 quid job, and then they released like an Ultra version which was blowback and everything, I think that would have gone down an awful lot better. In my eyes anyway, you know, I could be wrong. Again, remember with these reviews, this is my own personal opinion. Everybody's got different opinions, you know, very much each to their own. So basically that's it for our video. I will go and take some pictures of this now, try and get some of the markings. There aren't many, but I'll try and get them to come up on the camera a little bit better. We'll try and get a sort of a follow-on video done at some point as well, maybe when I change my mind, but it's pretty unlikely, to be honest. If you do want to check out the pictures for this one, I'll put a link over on our Facebook page. I've been trying to put loads of really interesting stuff on there. We've also got a bit more of a field sports kind of things going on about there as well, whether it be trips to farms that we've got permission to go on, etc. And just some also shooting stuff, just general things. I'm the other evening I posted up a cutaway of a 1911, for example. That seemed to go down really well, and it was an interesting piece of art, essentially. But anyway, that's a whole different story. So thanks for watching. If you've got any comments or anything like that, feel free to post them below, and I will, endeavour to get back to you as quick as I can and as accurately as I can. Apart from that, feel free to like and subscribe. We're still building the channel up. We've got more things coming. Hopefully got some articles coming out in a couple of the shooting magazines as well in the coming months. So I'm really looking forward to that. So things seem to be going okay for the channel as such. And I'm enjoying doing it. It's good being back on the screens. So anyway, thank you very much for watching another Replica Reviews video. And again, if you want to go out and check us on Facebook, feel free to give us a like.